together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Trudging Thursdays with two sober dudes. Hey, dude, you're getting a Dell.
All right.
Dude, you're getting a Dell. Actually, I do. I own a Dell. Do I?
Nice.
Well, the monitor is Dell. The computer is not. You should see how big my computer is. See how big it is? Look, that's my computer.
Oh, that thing's huge.
I know. I love it. No sound. The only thing I don't like is you see that dirt collecting on the top because the fan's right there. This thing kicks butt. $450. Yeah. And I do all sorts of stuff. So just as a heads up, I think my internet is still doing kind of some funky things. So if I go solid, if I'm suddenly not here, it'll still record. So you just cover until I'm back. I don't think it'll happen, but just in case. So how are you doing, brother? Feel like it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah. I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
Kind of figured, considering you picked the topic of learning how to be happy, joyous, and free.
And I called you the other day, not because there was something wrong.
Yeah, threw me off for a second, didn't it?
Yeah, I was ready for that though. I knew what I would be expecting if I were you.
Yeah. You caught me on a smoke break. So yeah, when my sponsees call, I tend to pick up. So
I try not to take advantage.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You know, it's nice to have somebody. I don't get too many calls that, hey, how are you? I know it's doing this going on, and it's all an emergency. And
No, I mean, I've made those calls. So
certainly,
I get that.
That just
I heard something recently that it's had a big impact on my day-to-day life, and it was and I don't remember where I heard it or saw it. It was some sort of a old people TikTok, Facebook reel thing, and it said we don't recover so that we can deal with stress and drama and trauma and all of that stuff. We recover so that we know how to do that. We have lived in that. We know how to handle that. We recover so that we can learn how to be happy and joyous and free.
Yeah.
And man, that just hit me like, oh, holy cow. Yeah, I have to learn how to be. I get to choose to be happy and free and joyful. And I spent in the earlier part of my recovery, I spent so much time figuring out the flaws in myself that I learned how to find those, and then I became a flaw finder, and I found them in everything and everyone, and it was uncomfortable, and I knew that there was another crest, right? Another hill that I'll be able to see more over. And I think that's what happened when I heard that. Was like, oh, there's the landscape. Like, that's okay. That wasn't the edge. I didn't get to the top. There's always another thing to learn. And
there's always another hill.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always more, and it's never ending. It doesn't stop. As long as you keep moving forward, you're going to find more reasons to be sober, be in recovery, and to have a good day despite everything that's going on. So, man, it is slow today, but we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to do true and false. It's time for true or false. I should put together some music for that and stuff. I'll get there one day. I've got a lot on my plate. All right, so this is where we're going to do true or false. I did ask for some harder ones this time. Are you ready? Are you ready, Tyler? You ready for true
I'm
or false?
ready.
Yeah, last time you tore through them, so I'm not expecting this to be any different.
Fountain of useless knowledge.
Yeah. All right, true or false? There's 10 of them. We'll do 5 of them.
True.
First one. Yeah, there we go. We know because last time they were all true.
Oh, I meant that we'll do 5 of them.
Oh, it's true. That will do 5 of them. Yeah, that is true. A man once robbed a bank, got away, and was only caught years later because he smiled for the security camera and posted it himself online.
Man, see that one I don't know this one. And that one
Yeah.
just sounds very
Sounds true.
believable.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess false.
You're going to guess false? I'm going to go with
Mhm.
true because people are stupid.
And I wonder if it's true, if that's why they have those smile, you're on
You're
camera
on camera.
signs
Yeah.
now, because
Yeah.
that guy, that's how he got caught.
It's true. There was a case, real case, Vesna Volvakic, a flight attendant who survived. Wait, no, that's not even. It's giving me the answer to the wrong one. It's giving me the answer to a man survived falling out of a plane. All right, hold on. I got to yell at ChatGPT. Wrong list. I asked if it was stupid. I'm getting a little mean with it. And I said, wrong list. All right, you are right. I grabbed the wrong list. My bad. False. So you were correct. And people,
I mean, I'm sure somebody has done something similar, though.
absolutely. You see people committing crimes, recording themselves and putting themselves online all the time. You see it all
Welcome,
the time.
Amber.
Hey, Amber, put my phone on D&D, on Dungeons and Dragons.
That's exactly what went through my head. Do not disturb.
That's D&D to me. All right. Second one, I got to do some scrolling because ChatGPT wants to explain everything. In the early 1900s, a doctor convinced people that smoking cigarettes was healthy and prescribed them to patients.
That I believe is true.
I absolutely believe that one. Number 2
9 out
answer.
of 10 doctors recommend Winston.
That's right. And the answer is true. It is true. Right. Sounds about right. Just a different opioid epidemic. Amber says people not wanting to do the work has me frustrated today, both at work and with AA. Whoo. Bummer. I like that. All right. Okay. So number 3, scrolling. A woman woke up during her own funeral after being declared dead.
I want to say true also.
It just sounds plausible in today's world, huh?
That's why they put the little bells on some headstones back in the
That's
day.
right. That's why they used to put bells on them. Yeah. They go, and you could, and they'd have a little cord and you could ding the bell in case you weren't really dead.
Yeah.
Which makes
I
you
know
wonder,
they did that, and I'm assuming this is why.
Well, it makes you wonder how many people weren't actually dead that they buried.
How many times? If it was a big enough problem that they had to start putting
Yeah, that
bells
they
in.
actually had to put some prevention or something in there.
Like, we're finding way too many scratch marks when we go to reuse these coffins, guys.
Reuse the coffins. Great. All right. The answer was true. The answer was true. And now ChatGPT is stuck. So that is it for true or false. Amber's back on YouTube. Come on, man. This is stuff that I got to put. That's why it's hard to do this stuff because it doesn't work out. All right. Let's get to today's show. Welcome to Two Sober Dudes. My name's Dion. We have Tyler with us today. The OG Sober Dudes. The OG, right? Today we're Amber says that's my biggest fear, being cremated alive. That's even
I
worse.
get that.
I'm burning. Yeah, I would. No, it's hard for me even to watch like maybe like I watched The Rookie. At one point, one of the people in the story was buried sick, underground. Oh man. Oh no, thank you. That sounds scary. No thanks. And they didn't even give her a bell. All right. No bell for you. Today's topic: learning how to
Yeah.
be happy, joyous, and free. Right? Because it is kind of learned, huh? I didn't just wake up one day and I was happy, joyous, and free. It's kind of a choice. It's a choice that I get to make. Now, not all things like, before you and I were talking, I'm filling out my disability paperwork. And there was a job that I had. It was called Global Check, and I was kind of close with the family. And the owner, who is the father, it's kind of a family business. I couldn't get a hold of him, so I looked up one of his sons I used to get along with. He's got 16 years of sobriety. Great job, Daniel. By the way, if you're listening, I told him to look me up. So if you're listening, brother, good job. Proud of that kid. He's
Incredible.
a little bit younger than me, but I found out that his father passed in January. We weren't really we were close, but not over the last couple of years. So, you know, uh, so there's a death today, right? Should that be? I wasn't extremely close. I am sad that he's gone, but I'm not quite surprised. I'm not really surprised. So, you know, um, now my thought on that is I don't think he wants me to go ahead and have a bad day over him, right? Um, he had he would when I was working for him, he would just do these weird things, and then it turned out he had a brain tumor. So they took out the tumor, but after they took out the tumor, he became a very heavy drinker, very
Mm.
heavy. And he was not. He used to give me a lot of flack for my drinking, a lot. But at every right, he was my employer. Um, I was always sweating, things like that. You can tell I was. So yeah, see how alcoholism can grab you at any point. At any point. Now he died because of a bug. He got a bug bite in it was in like Polynesia or something like that. So
Oh,
weird bug bite took him out. So that is not. I'm just kind of letting you know what's going on. But because that's not really happy, joyous, and free. But that doesn't mean I have to let it control the rest of my day. These big emotions, right? I was trying to find a good example. I don't think that was the best one.
well, I mean, that was if there's an example, right? That's it. Um, that's a really good point. Is just the big emotions, right?
Yeah.
Um, they're the scariest one. They're the most dangerous ones. Let me
Well,
rephrase that. Um,
or
because
taking
they're
that
the
emotion and making it bigger than it needs to be.
hmm
Because we're pretty. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty adept at making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm pretty good at that, and it's not a brag anymore. It used to be.
Yeah. No,
Right.
there are times where sometimes it's the smallest thing that I'm like that it broke me. I let that break me. That I let the smallest thing, just that's what that's what that's what flipped me over the edge today.
Mhm.
It doesn't
Uh,
happen. It gets to happen less often and less often.
yeah. Well, and that's true, and I think that has to do with recognition, right? The there's a saying: it's the little things that kill. Because we try, I know for me, I would determine how big is this problem when really that's not the thing. I need to be looking to the solution to the problem, not going backwards in the problem, you know. Um, so if the little things kill, then the little things must also build, like towards happy, joyous, and free, right? Isn't it a day at a time? Isn't it a step at a time? I mean, what we're dealing with here is what I call an elephant. And there's only one way to eat an elephant, a bite at a time.
Hmm.
So if we can do these little things that are what we think are little things. Like the other day, you called me on Sunday. Was that a little thing? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. To me. To you, have been like, yeah, I took 10 minutes out of my time elsewhere. But to me, it meant something more, right? So when we
Absolutely.
do little things for other people and it's their love language, it's going to be a big deal to them. How about your sponsor? How about, you're a sponsor now too. And yeah, every time you meet, so thank you so much for taking your time. And for us, we say thank you, but inside we're going, I really didn't do anything.
Thank you. You
Nah,
you you kept talking. You kept me sober again today.
you know.
Mhm.
So to us, it's like might be a little bit, but to somebody else, it could mean everything. You might be the only example of recovery that somebody sees, and having a good attitude and being happy, joyous, and free. Because isn't that what every alcoholic says? I just want to be happy.
Oh yeah,
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 I just want to be happy.
yeah.
So,
And
how
the,
did you learn how to be happy, joyous, and free?
a lot of it had to do with letting go of control
Oh,
over other people,
yes.
places, and things.
Yep. I would agree.
Mostly the other people part. That being the one
I know, darn it.
that led me away from happy, joyous, and free the most. And it still does.
Yeah,
I would say on a daily basis, there is going to be a point where I'm not happy, joyous, or free because I can't control what other people do.
that's right. Yeah. And it's a hard one too, because that might affect your life. Maybe it affects your time, so it affects you. There again, there's that effect again that might be a little bit bigger for you, right? Um, like when you're working with a sponsee and they don't show up. You try and call them, they don't answer, things like that. That can kind of disrupt your day. I was really looking forward to working with that person, and so then we get a little disappointed. But the answer to that is go find another person to work with. Right?
Hmm.
It's a simple answer. And I would absolutely 100% agree on that. What's the saying? Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? But
And you can't choose both.
that's right. You don't get both.
You don't get both. Sometimes they line up, but generally
Yeah,
speaking,
sure. Like, maybe I let go of it and things change or whatever, but I'm really doing it for my own peace, because when I have a good attitude, I'm much better at making decisions because my emotions don't seem to get in the way when I'm
I'm
happy,
better at
joyous,
treating
and
those around
free.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. The burden of living in my own head can create controversy.
Yeah. And then recognizing, like, getting in tune with yourself and your body and what you need in order to be happy, joyous, and free. And that
Yeah.
can take some time, especially when you had a thing that filled that role for so long for you and you don't have that thing anymore.
Yeah.
You hear it all the time. People be like, "Oh, that book saved my life," or "This thing saved my life." And it's find your thing. There sometimes you and highly recommend your thing being helping others, being of service. But
Yeah. Getting
um,
getting out of self.
yeah, there is a hole, when you're dealing with recovery from any kind of a substance abuse problem. I
Yeah.
specifically know about what it's like with alcoholism.
Yeah.
Um, there's a hole for, there was a that was the answer. That was the answer to the problems was numb
Hmm.
away. And so
Yeah.
finding a thing that brings you joy and leaning into it and having that be okay,
Yeah.
giving yourself permission to do
To heal.
something for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. It, and we can give other people permission to heal also just by being good examples. Um, Now we're not always happy, joyous, and free. That would be kind of, because the way I call it the warm blanket theory, right? But because you can't really be happy unless you've been sad. So, it's the middle of the winter and you wake up and your blanket's falling off you because that happens. and your dad keeps the temperature at 68 degrees because, and you're shivering, you're cold, when you pick up your blanket and you put it over you, and you get like this snuggly warm feeling, right? And it feels really good. But it wouldn't have happened if the covers didn't fall off you in the first place. Without the discomfort, you cannot find the peace. So what do? We confront that discomfort. Courage is a great way to lead towards happy, joyous, and free, I would think.
That's such a good point because for me, I would avoid what I considered confrontation for a long time, which was really just I have an opinion.
Yeah,
That doesn't have to be
it
confrontation.
doesn't have to be confrontational. That's the thing.
So learning how to give my opinion in a way that isn't just, hey, you're not right, here's why, um, is, that it gives me the ability to not bottle up. So I can now get that out and let's move on with our day,
Mhm.
instead of holding on to whatever I didn't say.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of the 10th step. Amber just did it. She was saying people not wanting to do the work inside and outside of the day. It's frustrating me today. Right. And now she's saying that out loud. And now it has less power over her because other people know now. Before that is a secret.
Yeah.
And we're only as sick as our secret. So we say it out loud. Okay. I said it out loud. I feel a little bit better about it, but it gives us a chance to start moving forward with our day and being able to start our day over. Maybe the first half of your day didn't go too well. Well, you got the other half. Let's try and make the best of it. Right.
Yeah, and that's one of those things for me where it's, the gap between knowledge and action, right? I'm like, the more often I remember that and the smaller that gap gets, the better my days become.
Mm-hmm. And good follow up on that, Amber. And what is in my control? Exactly. Yeah. And what is in my control? My emotions are in my control. What I do next is in my control. Absolutely. That's great. Thanks for putting my phone on do not disturb and focusing on my own work. There you go. Just yeah, put that shit on mute. All right. And there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of time for yourself. Absolutely not. You know,
Yeah,
if
it's
if it's been that kind of day and you need some time to decompress, absolutely. All right. That doesn't mean we're going to have a perfect life. It doesn't mean we're going to feel good all the time, right? And
mhm.
happiness comes and goes, but we're not just talking about happiness. We're talking about happy, joyous, and free. Now, what about joy? When we talk about happiness, what is joy? Let's, and that's kind of hard because happiness and joy tend to be the same thing in our head.
I think
What's the difference
that
between happiness and
happiness
joy?
is something that I feel internally, and joy
Okay.
is something that I express to others. I try and affect
Okay.
others with my joy.
And you're on. That's what it's saying here too. The difference is duration. Happiness is fleeting. Joy is a little bit more lasting. Happiness is based on happenings, while joy is an internal choice. Happiness is often outwardly excited. Joy is often deep, quiet peace.
Mm.
Um, Happiness can be described with synonyms like pleasure, cheerfulness, delight, and elation. I think you had what you were saying, but what you said
Backwards.
was not incorrect, though. I just think it's backwards.
Hmm.
Happiness is what I'm showing outward, and joy is the in, right? Um, Joy can be described with synonyms like contentment, bliss, serenity, fulfillment. Finding purpose in life brings deep joy.
See,
So,
that's why I felt backwards because you bring joy, you feel happy.
yeah, I think it works both ways. You know, why cut myself? Why be like, no, it doesn't work that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and not have any happiness and joy in my life.
Right.
'Cause that's the conclusion I would come to. So I can't cut off our nose and spite our face. All right. So I think joy comes from working the steps, spiritual experiences, watching other people grow. That's a joy to be able to watch. It fills my heart. Uh,
Oh yeah.
so I think it has more to do with length. Joy tends to stick around a little bit
Mm.
longer than happiness. Happiness tends to be situational. Um, Joy is a contentment. Happiness is a dividend from something that I've done. Where joy could be, I see the forest for the trees. Wow, the grass is green. Look at those birds. You know, how about that free portion?
I mean, I'm free to make those choices today. I didn't have those choices.
Mm. What happened
I'm,
that you have those choices now?
uh, I, I,
I'm not
I
going to ask
stopped,
easy questions, dude.
I stopped letting something else make them for me.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, an internal decision. Um, the way I take free is I'm free from the bondage of self now. And because I am free from the bondage of self, I get to enjoy happy and joyous. And now I get to enjoy those because I'm not caught up in my own crap all the time. Right.
Well, and
Um,
I'm free to experience those things regardless of what else is going on.
yeah. Or even with people. Right. When I was drinking, I would be jealous if you got what I thought I wanted. Now I celebrate it. I'm so happy for you because it gives me hope. It tells me it's possible.
Yeah, a lot less envy
Yeah,
in my life, that's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Let's hate, you
Yeah,
know.
a lot more love.
Yeah,
You know,
I would agree with that.
it's interesting to because I get to interact with all kinds of people that I wouldn't normally, if
Yeah,
I wouldn't
because of the
normally
job that
interact
you
with.
have. Yeah,
And there's so many different people out there, guys. Like and if you learn to love all of them, you can. Like you get to find things and like anytime I think, okay, well, where let's find the love, right? If I
yeah,
if I ever have a prejudgment, right? I am contempt before investigation on an individual. If I notice that, I try and find the thing to love.
yeah.
Um,
And recovery speaks the language of the heart, which is love. Um, the guy that I was just talking to, Daniel. I haven't talked to him in I don't know 10 years probably. And we were getting off the phone. This is natural for me. I'm getting off the phone. I'm like, okay, love you, brother. And he said it back to we've never said that to each other, but we're both in recovery and it feels natural.
mhm.
It didn't feel forced or unnatural because we did. And it isn't, it's a brotherly love. Hey, I hope your life goes well. I hope you have a great day. I really do, and we mean it. We mean it now. All right. Um, so happiness is the moments, the gratitude, the appreciation is built through perspective and small daily actions. Right? We're changing our perspective. We've been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence, which means that we see life differently now. That's what that means. You haven't been really rocketed anywhere. Um,
Um, yeah, I think for me, one of the gifts from the program is just the ability to rethink how I deal with my emotions, especially the
mhm,
negative ones. Um, being able to if I am feeling not happy, joyous, or free, I can ask myself why. And I can
sure.
now figure it out. And 9 times out of 10, there isn't really a reason for me to not be happy, joyous. And then it's a lot easier to feel that happy, joy, and free
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. The main
And those are
difference
things I
now
love.
is, like you were saying earlier, my happiness isn't dependent on that person and this person, all these people doing the things that I want them to. Where when I was caught up in alcoholism, well, I was never happy when I was drinking. I just wasn't, you know. I acted like I was happy. I'd laugh at things like, because they were funny, but really inside, no, I wasn't happy. I wanted to die. Is what I wanted. Um, but I also found it funny the way I was doing it. I don't know why.
Oh yeah. The only reason I thought I was having a good time was because I didn't care what happened.
Yeah,
If I knew what was happening, I wouldn't have been having such a good time.
yeah. And I think that going back to joy a little bit, I think that tends to happen when we're doing the right things, when we're living the right life, you know, where we're working our program, we're going to our meetings, we're spending time with family and friends, we're putting effort into these things now. Um, and I think that's where the true joy comes from, is living the right way. Um, and then there's the freedom from the obsession. How about that one? Yeah, do you think you'd be happy, joyous, if you were not free of the obsession to drink?
Oh no, because I experienced that many, many times. I have been dry before,
Mhm. Okay.
and that was that experience, right? It was all I wanted was a drink, but knew I couldn't or shouldn't have one.
Yeah,
And that's all that I could think about. I was not happy, joyous, and free. I was irritable, restless, and discontent, because that's all I was able to be
yeah,
at the time, because I didn't have any other knowledge or tools, or I didn't have a lack of power. I didn't have the power to be anything but that.
yeah. There, there's a weird moment that happens to a lot of us. It happened to me a few times, because there's I was restless, irritable, discontent. Oh, you're going to allow me to go to the liquor store? I can get away with it. Suddenly, my mood changed.
Hmm.
I was very happy now because I was getting what I wanted. I'd get those first drinks. When I reached that happiness and recovery, I was accused of drinking. Have you been drinking? No, I'm just in a really good mood. Are you sure? Because this is how you act when you get what you want. I am getting what I want now. A mighty great life. I'm actually so you may go through that. Don't take offense to it, because the way they see it is you're drunk because you were never that happy unless you were getting what you wanted.
Man, I am so grateful that you said that. It really, somebody very close to me is experiencing that. Just today told me about how
Oh,
somebody
really?
accused
That's not
them.
coincidence. Thank you, God.
And now I know why.
Yeah. Because they are seeing a pattern, and that fits the pattern. And you can't blame them. You can't get mad at them about it. Okay. You just explain it, a little bit of education. I understand why you would think that, but no, I'll take a breathalyzer for you. Here. You want to smell my breath? Huh? All right. So, I'm glad that happened. If nothing else today, we learned something, right? So, let's talk about kind of where we get stuck and then how we get there. And we've kind of covered it, where people get stuck chasing feelings, expecting constant happiness, and the big one, we haven't talked about this yet, comparing yourself to other people. Yeah, we talked about a little bit jealousy, a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that
yeah, both.
comparison.
I mean, whether you're the shit or a piece of shit, right? Like,
Oh
you're
yeah,
when you're comparing yourself to others, it's never this person's the exact same level as me. That's never the first
and
thought.
and and it's none of it's true unless you have actually sat down with this person and lived their life with them and understand. Otherwise, the comparison isn't based on facts. Um, but we can move that to, I like what that person has. I'm going to go ask them how they got it. That's what
Absolutely.
my recovery is. It is
Yeah.
stolen from a bunch of people that were doing it the way that had what I wanted, and I stole it from them. Well, they gave it to me, but it's a lot more fun to say I stole it from them, right? So, and we freely give in this program. There's no secrets. There's no, there's no, we're not hiding anything. Okay. And we don't hide things because you're going to be experiencing Karate Kid moments throughout your without us even doing that. That's God's job. Let him do that. Let him do the surprises.
Yeah, the only thing you've kept for me is things that you don't know.
There you go. What you don't know, you don't know.
Or you're
So,
like, I am gonna continue to learn more, but
yeah,
that's the only reason that I haven't passed on more.
yeah, exactly. Now, when we're talking about happiness, right? It's always happiness. I bring this up a lot. Happiness is not a base emotion. It is a dividend from the result of doing something good, like working with another alcoholic, mowing your lawn. It could be a lot of different things, right? And feeling that accomplishment. I have a feeling that Amber's going to be a smart ass here. It only seems like a secret because people say get a sponsor and they'll tell you. And now I'm learning it's because they don't do the steps, so they don't know. You are absolutely correct. She wasn't being a smart ass. I apologize for. No, thank you for that. Yes, you are not wrong. Yeah, no, you see it a lot, and it's going to be hard to teach somebody else's steps when you haven't done them yourself. You can't transmit something you do not have. Right. So
Yeah, I
how do
mean,
we
when
get
it comes,
there? Go ahead. What were you saying, brother?
well, I'm just gonna reiterate what you said. When it comes to success, no matter what arena you're in, find somebody that has what you want and ask them how they got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. Any arena, it doesn't just have to be recovery. I'm asking people right now that it has nothing to do with recovery about a few other things. Absolutely. Good point on that. My ass is smart. Thanks. LOL.
He's a very intelligent person.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'd really want to debate with Amber on her good days.
My best day and her worst day would.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do that. We love you, Amber. You know that. So how do we get there? I think the first thing is being honest. I'm not happy with the way things are. I'm not okay with these consequences anymore. I need to quit drinking. I need to do something about this.
Yeah, that's absolutely the first thing that happened to me. And then there was still a good chunk of time before I did something about it, but
Yeah.
recognizing that
Okay.
something needed to change and that I wasn't happy.
Yeah. And good point because action's the key here. Action is key, right? So we start to take action into our lives. And we do that in a lot of different ways. But in this case, I think the big one is this. Hello, snakes. I'm not going to let you torture my life anymore. I'm going to tell on you. I'm going to tell on you. Yeah, because we're going to do that fifth step. And we tell on ourselves. And that in and of itself is going to create a lot of freedom. Okay. And yes, you do belong in AA, but you're going to feel like you don't belong until you do that fourth and fifth step. I tell you right now, you're going to feel like a fraud. You belong there. Don't get me wrong. Keep coming back, but get to that fourth and fifth step, right? So, I also depends on if I know the subject we're debating. Fair. I also stop fighting everyone and everything, so I don't debate much.
Now that's wisdom.
Yeah, that's why we don't debate with you. What else? Connection. Connection. The opposite of addiction is connection. It's community. It's fellowship. Right? Being accountable will help you be free too. Because and stop hiding everything. Stop trying to get away with things. Right? Stop trying to do that. Okay? Because we
Yeah,
all
you can get your dopamine in other places.
absolutely you
It
can.
doesn't have to be from sneaking something or
Yeah.
getting away from something.
Yeah. You don't need to be Gollum, be sneakies. Right? What are you doing? I'm sneaking.
What I do.
All right. So,
But yeah, getting, figuring out, I mean, what you said, right? That fourth and fifth, figuring out what kinds of what kinds of character defects you have, and then
mhm,
telling on yourself. and then doing something about it, right? Making sure, trying not to, removing those defects to the best of your ability and using your, whatever higher power you have to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
It opens up everything else.
Mm-hmm.
When you have all of that shit removed, or at least on the table and ready to be brushed off, there's a lot of room for all those other feelings and things like service work, being happy, being joy,
And now you have
adding
more room on your table
positivity.
to
Hmm.
put the good things. Oh, I like that concept. Uh, it's a one big table with all my problems. We get rid of them. Now I have all this room on my table to help people out. I got time on my hands. And that's soon going to be filled up with family and kids and jobs. And it's going to get filled up with fellowship and the
Yeah.
stuff in our life that we need.
Yeah. It's no longer the junk table that all the shit I don't want to deal with
Yeah,
gets thrown on.
yeah, I, yeah. Just get rid of that table. I have it. You are not allowed to set things on tables around here. Hey, it's your house. You do whatever you want.
No, but I mean, that's a really good point, because I like that analogy. I'm going to use it more. You put one more thing on that table, your shit's just going to fall. You don't have room for the stuff
Yeah.
you need on the table. Now there's room for happiness, joyous, freedom,
Mhm.
the ability to help others, the ability to be selfless for the
Yeah.
first time in your life, truly, to not expect anything in return for stuff that that you do.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would I would probably recommend one other thing. Be intentional. When you wake up in the morning, I'm going to have a good day. I am having a good day. What a great day this is. Send somebody a text. I hope you're having a great day. Good morning. It's something. Do something to make the statement. This is a good day. And that's what'll happen. If you wake up and you stub your toe, break a shoelace, this is going to be a good day. Don't start thinking, oh, bad things come in threes, because then you're going to create another bad thing that's going to happen. You'll go on the road and you're expecting it to happen and it will come true and then you crash. Oh, I told you it was going to be
Absolutely.
a bad day because you made it that way. You
I've
made
started just, oh, cool. I'm getting all the bad shit out of the way early.
There you
now,
go.
now
Yeah,
I can have a great rest of my
yeah.
day.
Awesome. Bad crap happened. We're done.
Sweet. 9 a.m. and I'm done with the bad stuff.
That's a great way to put it, right? So, you know, we don't chase happiness. There's a way that we live that produces it. So, and we don't find happiness and joy and free. We grow into it. It is
You
something that
make
you
room
grow in.
for it.
Yeah, make room. Get off your table. Flip that table, my friends.
I
Flip
almost
that
did.
table. And I can't. There's too much stuff on it.
But yeah, and it's just, it's an amazing feeling, um, to just choose to have a good day and be able to do it.
Yeah.
Not feel like you're faking it, but just truly
And in the
change your
beginning, because it's
disposition.
new, it will feel fake, but it's not. We gotta let
That's
people
I
know
think
that.
that's what hit me recently.
Yeah. That and you deserve to be happy, joyous, and free. And that's why it's not fake. Because you deserve that. You've earned that. But we alcoholics feel like we don't deserve anything because the society tells us that. But it's not true. You deserve everything. You do. Yeah. All right. Well, I gotta wrap this up. I have a meeting at 3 o'clock here. I meant to tell you in
All
the
right.
beginning. I said it in chat, but we hardly ever use it, so I don't think you saw it yet.
Oh,
You're
I
like, that's
see the
what
little
that was.
notification there. I
Do
saw
you?
something pop across, but couldn't figure it out.
You're like that. Dion does that.
I learned like 3 new things today. I'm set.
There you go. There you go. And I learned a few ways to be able to describe it a little bit better if they're not quite understanding. Now I got the table reference, right? Right. So, all right. So, as we end, um, give yourself permission to have a good day Anything else you'd like to say on it, Tyler?
I think that was it.
Well, it's a decision.
You're allowed to have a good day. No one's going to be mad at you for it.
Well, in fact, they might even join in with you and have a good day too. Oh no. God forbid we become better people. Oh no. All right. Thank you everybody for being here. We appreciate it. We love you. You know we do. Peace out. And remember, no one ever, ever, ever trudges alone.